channel where we spread love and positive vibes. And I want to start by thanking our new subscribers and our returning subscribers. We value you so much, and we thank you a lot for supporting us, for subscribing to our channel, for liking our videos, and for commenting in the commenting section. We do not take you for granted, guys. We appreciate you so much. And today I wanted to talk about something about Jamaica. I think we have repeated again and again about the greatness of the people of Jamaica, the great achievements they have achieved. I don't want to repeat them, but I'm going to highlight some of the achievements that were achieved by the people of Jamaica before their independence. We found that it was amongst the first countries in the Caribbean, the first English-speaking countries in the Caribbean to attain independence. You know, when we talk about the first English-speaking countries, we are leaving Haiti because I'm sure Haiti speaks French. And therefore, we talk about the first English-speaking country to attain independence. Because people come and tell us Haiti was, which I agree, yeah, Haiti got independence so much early. And therefore, before independence, Jamaicans had achieved a lot. They were way much ahead of most of the countries in the whole world. And I was trying to find out what made Jamaicans to be so ahead of other people, because I'm going to state what they had discovered before even anybody else had come to know about these things. And therefore, I will talk about the traits. Jamaicans are taught to have some traits that people mistake to be negative, and some traits that people say are positive. But to me, I tend to think both these traits contributed a lot to who Jamaicans are today. Because if it were not for these traits, much of the achievements we have seen Jamaicans achieving, they wouldn't have achieved. If I may mention some of the ones that we have already mentioned, because I wanted to concentrate on some that we have never had. But if I can start by mentioning a few achievements of the Jamaicans, which we have already had, we know that Jamaicans are the fastest people in the world. They have the best lamb in the world. They have the best coffee in the world. They are known for their kindness, for their goodness. I'll mention that later. And they have a lot of achievements. We looked at them in so many videos. But today I want to highlight some of the Jamaicans' achievements before independence. Did you know, before the word factory was used anywhere else, it was first used in Jamaica? There was a construction of a sugar factory in Jamaica in those long time ago, when they were under the colonial rules. And the word factory came up and it started being used in Jamaica. And I think that from this word factory, Jamaicans got a trait of being doers, being creative, being in the front line to achieve their goals and their vision. Because the word factory, it is a sort of a French word that means doers, makers, creators. And for sure, we can actually associate Jamaicans with all this. They are doers, they are makers, they are creators. They have created a lot: music, artwork, agriculture, inventions. So many things that they have created. They are makers. We have seen them making records all over the world. They are doers. When they are determined, they will stop at nothing to achieve their goals. We saw the other day, and I was even today watching the youth of Jamaica running 100 meters, and I also watched the youth of Jamaica running 4x100 meters. And those ladies and gentlemen were learning like they will never learn again. Because when a Jamaican puts their mind to do something, they do it with all their energy, with all their powers, with all their minds, with all their energy. And they emerged victorious in the 100 meters and in the 4 by 100 meters. And I tell you that Jamaicans are winners and they can never agree to lose. The other day, people are talking about Jamaicans in the just ended Paris Olympics. But we are now seeing them, the youth of Jamaica, being in the front line to lead in the 100 meters and the 4 by 100 meters. Those are Jamaicans. They are never brought down by just one failure. They will not be brought down by just one mistake. They will keep on trying and trying until they make it perfect. And that is what we have seen in most of the Jamaicans. So the word factory started to be used in Jamaica. And I'm going to tell you a story of a scenario that portrayed Jamaican's character during this launching of the sugar factory in Jamaica. I'm going to say the story when I come to the traits of Jamaica. So I'm now in the achievements of Jamaica before independence. So there was the usage of the word factory before even people came to know it. And the other one is that the word guerrilla war was coined in Jamaica after the first Maroon War fought the slave masters using the guerrilla tactics. We found that Nana and all the other Maroon, they were fighting using guerrilla tactics and magic. And I went through the fighting of these people, very aggressive people, very creative people, and that is why I've said the word victory, the word factory defines who Jamaicans are. It means makers, it means creators, it means doers. So Nana and all the Maroons that were fighting, it is said that they would use magic to rule their colonial masters into their camps, and then they get killed. They could make a narrow wall leading to where they were staying in the bush, and as the colonial masters were passing through the narrow wall, they could just overshadow them and fight them and defeat them. So with the sophisticated weapons of the colonial masters, they could not defeat the Maroon guerrillas because of their skill, because of their creativity, because of their ability, and they are resilient to fight without getting tired. It is actually said they could throw, the colonial masters could throw the bullets at them and they could bounce back to the colonial masters. Those are some of the things that the ancestors of the Jamaican people used to fight their enemies, the colonial masters. And I tell you, they fought until they attained their freedom. So the word guerrilla originated or was coined in Jamaica after the Maroon started fighting their colonial masters in guerrilla wars. And we saw the guerrilla fighting even here in Kenya. The people, the Mau fighters used to hide in bushes and they could invade the colonial masters in guerrilla tactics. And this is what was used in Jamaica. The other one is that the chocolate milk was invented in Jamaica. I didn't know that, but guys, that the chocolate milk was actually invented in Jamaica. I came to know about it, but I know Jamaicans grow cocoa. If I'm wrong, you can tell me. And therefore, the chocolate milk was invented in Jamaica and it is enjoyed by everyone in the whole world. And I tell you, chocolate is not cheap. And the first people to invent it were the Jamaicans. Where did they get this knowledge? Why were they so much ahead of the others in terms of innovation, in terms of creativity, in terms of inventing and so on. So we are going to look at the traits that makes Jamaica who they are and who they were. So that is another invention that was done in Jamaica. The other one, the first electric light was laid in Jamaica in the Black River. The first electric light. Everybody else was using lamps, but Jamaica were busy innovating electric light. So the first electric light was laid in Jamaica in the Black River. This was awesome. When I came to know this, I was saying, wow, these people had minds, great minds, that could not be pulled down by the colonial masters. They kept on innovating. So the first electric light was actually laid in Jamaica in the Black River. So I was asking myself, what are the traits that have made Jamaica to achieve all this? And yet, it is just a small island. Barely, it is actually half or a quarter of some of the countries in the globe. But it has achieved so much that has not been achieved by most of the countries. Why? And I realized that Jamaicans have two traits, characteristics. And some people may think some of these characteristics are negative, but they have contributed a lot to who Jamaicans are. They are not actually negatives, they are strong characters. They are strong traits of the people of Jamaica. One, the people of Jamaica are said to be very overconfident. The overconfident bit actually makes them to do something that according to the human eye, it is impossible. But the Jamaicans will have confidence and will start it and will go ahead with it with all their power and with all their energy. And that is why they end up winning in most of these things. They have innovated so much because of their overconfident and believing in themselves. Because you cannot be overconfident if you don't believe in yourself, if you have no faith in yourself, if you have not believed that whatever is ahead of you, you can do it. So Jamaicans are overconfident, and this has contributed a lot to their achievement, even in their sports, even in education, even in the leadership positions, because of their overconfidence. The other one is that Jamaicans are generally competitive. It is said that Jamaicans are competitive. You know, every person would want to lead. And if you are the kind of a person who just stays in one point and see the others moving and you're comfortable, I tell you, my friend, you'll go nowhere. But a person who is eager to be where the other person is, if one person is ahead of you, you're eager to go where they are. This, I would call it positive competition. This leads you to work extra hard, to think extra hard, to innovate extra hard, and that is why, or rather that is what has led the Jamaicans to do so much well than most of the people. Jamaicans are also said to be very aggressive. Aggressive people will stop at nothing to attain their vision, to attain their goal, to achieve what they want to achieve. The aggressiveness of Jamaicans has led them to be the fastest people in the world. It has also led them to be the most known country in the world. It has led them to be leaders in some of the positions some of us cannot imagine a black man holding such a position because of their overconfidence and their aggressiveness and their competitive nature. Jamaicans have also achieved all what we have talked about because of these traits. The people who are just comfortable where they are, people who are not aggressive, people who do not do a lot to achieve their vision and their goal, they just stagnate. But a person who is aggressive, a person who decides to do something and goes for it, is actually a person who succeeds in so much. And that is why these traits of Jamaicans have really contributed to who the Jamaicans are. It is very, very important to note. These type of traits combined together are very rare. Because I've given you the positive side of the Jamaican people. But I've said that these traits are actually positivity combined with a lot of zeal, with a lot of energy, with a lot of strength, with a lot of determination to be who you want to be. So Jamaicans are generally overconfident, competitive, and they are aggressive. They will not sit down and watch failure. They will come out and fight until they become winners. And we have seen this in sports. We have seen it in Miss World titles, Miss Universe titles. We have seen this in very, very many occasions, even in music. Jamaicans are way, way ahead of the others in terms of music, in terms of art and creativity, in terms of a lot of things, because of these traits. The other thing, why are Jamaicans having such traits? Why are Jamaicans very aggressive, very confident, overconfident in what they do, very, very competitive, and very, very strong in terms of their determination? This is said, there is a story that is said that we all know that the Jamaican people are actually the remnants. They came from the people who were actually captured in Western Africa and were taken as slaves in the Caribbean. And it is said that they could be traveled, or rather they could be carried by ships. And in these ships, they could move from east to west. And as they were going from West Africa to the Caribbean, along the way, the ship could sell these slaves. And the slaves who could be sold were the less rebellious, the cool ones, the ones that looks like they cannot cause harm, the docile ones, but the most healthy. So note those characteristics. The slaves that were sold on the way were the most docile. They could not harm anyone, less rebellious, but very healthy. Meaning that the people who were left in the ship and were carried up to the last port, and the last port was in Jamaica. The people who arrived in this last port were the most rebellious, the strongest, because the weak ones, the most docile, and the weak ones were sold on the way, and some could not even arrive in the last port. So they were left the strong ones who could endure the hardships of the journey, and the most rebellious slaves, and those slaves that could not actually take what the masters were telling them. Those are the slaves that arrived in Jamaica, the last port. And therefore, when they arrived there, of course, with their rebellious nature and their strength and their resilient nature and their ability to say no, they are the ones that later became the Maroons, who fought the colonial masters and sent them away. And therefore, their children are the ones that we call Jamaicans. And that is why Jamaicans have these characteristics, because they inherited from their ancestors. Strong, hard-working, very, very stable in whatever they say, very, very firm. They would not waver, because the people who could waver were sold on the way. The docile ones, the weak ones, but the most healthy. So the ones that persevered along the journey and arrived in the last port are the ancestors of the Jamaicans that we talk about today. And therefore, this characteristic was inherited from their masters. The Jamaicans also are said to be very strong people, and I've told you why they are strong. They have a lot of resilience. They can endure much, because if they came from the Western Africa to Caribbeans and they endured the hardships, they have that gene of endurance. And therefore, most of the Jamaicans are very, very resilient, very, very hardworking people, very, very determined people. And some of the characteristics that we see also in Jamaica is that the traits of Jamaicans is that they are very welcoming, very warm, very strong people, very positive. Because, by the way, there are so many negativities that were on the way from West Africa to Caribbeans, and Jamaicans endured and learned to be positive, learned to be resilient, learned to face challenges and overcome them. So the Jamaicans are very, very hardworking people, very, very positive, very, very friendly, very, very welcoming, very, very kind, very, very hospitable. And those are the people that we see in Jamaica, and that is why they have achieved so much, because of these traits that I have mentioned lastly and the ones that I had mentioned earlier combined together makes Jamaicans to be who they are today. Very hardworking people, very strong people, very determined people, very focused people. They will stop at nothing until they achieve their goal. And we have seen it because we have seen so many videos about Jamaicans. And therefore, guys, this is what I wanted to talk about today, the unique traits that has made Jamaicans to be at the top there. And I tell you, these traits, we will continue to put them on top there until, I think, the end of the world. Because these are some of the characteristics that are very strong. That if you need to succeed, you must have these characteristics. You don't please people, you don't entertain people, you stand firm, you are aggressive, you are hardworking, you are positive, you are very friendly, you are very welcoming, you are very hospitable, you are very family-oriented or community-oriented. Those traits can actually make you not get sick and succeed in so many things. And that is what I wanted to talk about today. See you during the next video. Bye bye and welcome.